The old saying goes that changes are inevitable. Well, I believe the time has come to make a change. If you're curious what I'm referring to, just come along with me. Now, I will admit, I do struggle at times explaining things at length, and I know for a fact I'm going to struggle during this video. So if you do notice at times of me fumbling my words or talking too fast or sounding out of breath or making cuts here or there, just bear with me. I'm doing my best to keep the video as short and as easy to follow along as possible. I'm coming to you from the Forest Hill Cemetery, one of my favorite local cemeteries. Perfect place to photograph, to touch on some history, also just to reflect and think about things. I wanted to come here to talk about what's on my mind and to share what changes I think should and need to be made. Now, before we talk about what changes are going to be coming, let me catch you up to speed. Some of this may sound familiar or repetitive to some of you. Some of you may be hearing it for the first time. But back in October of 2025, I made a video talking about changes, wondering if changes need to be made. And I basically summarized in that video saying that things have changed for the worst on this platform, and they are affecting my channel. Up until, I'd say, August of 2025, things were really good. And things were kind of trajecting upwards with views and subscribers, and things were kind of working as a well-oiled machine. Come August, September, things changed. Not really slowly and gradually, more like all of a sudden. Come August, September, views dropped off significantly, almost to like a fraction of what they normally were. Now, prior to that happening, with exceptions, I was averaging between 30 and 150,000 views on many videos. And they were all different types of videos about railroad history, adventures, rail trails, all different types of things were doing really well. Like I said, with exceptions. But once that time frame came in August, September, all those same type of videos were getting less than half of the views they normally did. And the first thing I thought of is, I must be doing something wrong. People aren't liking the videos anymore, or they're not liking me, or the way I present myself, or something else. I just instantly blame myself. So I made a video in October saying what changes could be made, if necessary, to make my channel even better and my videos. And that video got a decent number of views compared to the rest. And I will say, more than 95% of the people that commented basically said, don't change anything. We like what you do. We like your videos. We like you as a person who takes us on these adventures. So that made me feel good in a sense, but also still left me with more questions of, well, why is the views going down if everyone likes the videos and likes the way I do them and likes me as a person on this platform? So I did ask for some feedback of what could be changed, if anything. And several of you came up with some great suggestions, which I have implemented since that time. First one is that I changed my YouTube channel logo back to an image of myself rather than a generic logo. Number two is that I started working harder on my thumbnails. I used to have not bad thumbnails, but not super catchy. They were just kind of an image I thought looked good, and I would put just some regular font on it and the same colors over and over. So I started working on my thumbnails. I also worked on not being as repetitive and talking too much. And I also worked on, and these are things that were mentioned to me, about having varied length videos, because most times I make long videos over 45 minutes. So those are all things I worked on, and I did an update saying, these are what I'm implementing on my channel, thanks to your feedback and suggestions and input. And I've been doing that ever since. But unfortunately, things have not improved. If anything, they've gotten worse. And now I'm at a point where I feel I need to make a decision on what I should do going forth. And that's where these changes are going to come into play. But before we talk about the changes, I do want to share a few more details as to why I feel these changes are going to be necessary. Now, when the views started dropping around August, September 2025, it wasn't just me that was being affected. There are a lot of channels out there that have experienced the same thing, where your views were continuing to grow, they were reflecting your subscriber count, and then in a matter of a month or two, everything just kind of got wiped away, and videos are just performing, or I should say underperforming, the norm, or what is normal for their channel. And there's been a lot of channels I've seen make videos similar to mine saying that YouTube is dying, or my channel is dying, or I'm failing as a creator, or I don't know what to do, why is this happening? And I was in that category of people saying, am I to blame? Is this what is going to come to my channel, that it just kind of slowly dies off? Well, although it is possible, I don't want to accept that that's the real reason. And mainly because of all the feedback from my October video. If most of the people said, yeah, your videos are lame, they're boring, we don't enjoy them, you're not a good commentator, presenter, whatever it is, then yeah, I would say my channel has run its course, and that, well, it was a fun ride, but the ride is now over. And this is where things got frustrating for me, which they still are. Now, when I say channels like mine have been affected, I am saying mid-level channels. Channels greater than 100,000 up to say 1 million subscribers. I know firsthand of at least a half dozen channels that are larger than me that I'm subscribed to that are experiencing the same thing as me. They were garnering 50 to 100,000 views, if not more, per video. And now they're getting less than 20,000 views. And it's so bad that right now, currently as we speak in 2026 here, there are still a few channels 2 to 3 times the size of me, or my channel, that are getting pretty much the same views I'm getting. So they're experiencing even a harder hit than I am. Now, I am 100% appreciative of every view I do get, of every person that watches my video. But when you put a lot of time and effort into certain videos and they're not getting watched, that is a bit disheartening and discouraging. On the flip side though, there's a lot of smaller channels that are doing phenomenal right now. And I'm completely happy for them, because I was a smaller channel at one time and I started hitting my stride and success and growing, and I know what that feeling's like. And I don't take credit away from anyone that is building their brand on here and doing what they need to get exposure, to get views, and getting themselves known as a reputable content creator. The part I have with it is that there's channels out there right now that have 10,000 or less subscribers that are getting more views than me. And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Now, there are a lot of varying factors that do play a part in it. We talked about it before, about the algorithm, how the algorithm sends out your video to a test audience, and if they don't watch it, it just falls flat. That is a part to play. But I've come to realize there's a bigger part that played, that YouTube did around the same time when my views and other views of other channels started going down. I'm going to mention that in just a moment. But when I built my channel up, and I'm on this platform 16 years now, I never thought I would reach the level I'm at as far as subscribers, ever topping 100,000. So that blew my mind. And right now, I think I'm just shy of 240,000. So honestly, that tells me I was doing something right. I was doing something good. I got my verification badge from YouTube. I got my plaque from YouTube. I became a verified, solidified content creator on this platform. And people agreed They were subscribing and watching my videos out the wazoo. And things, like I said, were going really well. So the only thing that changed between, say, a year or two ago to present is that I increased production value on my videos. I took my videos from where they were decent to watch, but I felt made them even better. And based on the feedback, many of you agree with that. Specifically, some examples of when I do railroad or mining ruins, I do a lot of back history ahead of time. And then I edit a portion to insert in the video showing all the map images and data and articles, solidifying the history to back it up. And that takes a lot of time and effort to do the research, to do the editing. And I've been implementing a bunch of different tools and websites and resources and even friends' knowledge to produce a lot of my videos as of late. And in my opinion, they're some of the best videos I produced, but they're also some of the worst performing videos as well. So that's why we are here today, because things aren't working the way they're supposed to be. And YouTube made a change. What's that change? Well, you may or may not have noticed it, because it happened slowly, but surely over a matter of time. Now, I'm going to show two examples. Those of you who've been on YouTube, whether you're a creator or just a viewer, may have noticed this, and it's more noticeable now than ever. Back in 2016, 10 years ago, the YouTube homepage on computers, TVs, even your phone, had a much different layout than it does today. In 2016, I don't even think shorts were a thing yet. I think shorts came out closer to 2020, if I'm not mistaken. But what YouTube did is they had smaller icons, or thumbnails I should say, of all the recommended suggested videos. And they had them laid out in a 5x6 pattern, which means up to 30 videos at a time, long form videos, would be shown on the YouTube homepage. So whenever anyone went to the homepage, they had at least 30 videos to look at, to possibly watch, aside from their normal subscription feed. These were usually suggested, recommended to watch videos. So 30 videos 10 years ago. Well, over time, that changed, more specifically when shorts came out. When shorts came out, it was slowly the beginning of the end. And although I personally never have a problem with shorts, I didn't realize the impact it would have long term. Now, shorts, as far as I know, were created to help be competitive with other platforms like TikTok. And although shorts do have their place, I don't think they belong on a traditional long form video platform. And that's what YouTube's always been up until the shorts. It's always been long form videos. Well, I'm going to show you what the screen layout looks like now in 2026 on the homepage. You now have much larger thumbnails and only a fraction of the videos that would normally be recommended to you. At times, you have as little as 2 long form videos. At most, 6 if you're lucky. The reason why is because the YouTube homepage is pushing shorts. If you do a search for something, how to do this or how to do that, 9 times out of 10, shorts videos pop up first. And if you go to your homepage looking to see what your subscribers have put out or something new to watch, well, there's only up to 6 spaces that are going to be having videos featured on the homepage. That's a big problem, because even though my channel was growing in subscribers, most of my views came from non-subscribers for whatever reason. And that's normal with a lot of channels. You have a portion of your subscribers that watch, but when you look at your analytics, you have a portion that are non-subscribers. They always end up watching because the video was recommended or suggested to them on the homepage or to watch next. And it's worked great for myself and lots of other creators. That's where I would say about 60% of our views came from is from non-subscribers, even though we always encourage subscribe if you like the content. So if you look at it this way, you go from a street with 30 different restaurants they're all open for business, and you have 30 different choices to choose from as to where you want to eat. And within 2 months, it gets closed down to 6 or less restaurants, which means competition is much higher to get your business. So that means, well, everyone who's putting out videos and thought they were doing the right thing have been forced to up their game. Do better, perform better, make better titles and thumbnails. And as far as I know, I've been doing that based on the feedback. I've been upping my thumbnails. I've been working on catchy but non-clickbait titles. I've been doing more research, more back history, going into more detail with things. I've been doing what I feel is necessary to stand out above average. But unfortunately, that is not working. And when you have channels out there with millions of subscribers that get millions of views, they take precedence on the homepage. Typically, it's the large channels above the mid-grade channels like myself that get the exposure. The other problem is that notifications don't go out as they're supposed to. Many of you have said, when I put out a new video, you don't find out about it right away. Sometimes not until days or even a week later. And I also get recommended channels that I have no interest in watching. There are some small channels that get recommended to me on the homepage that have videos with like less than 500 views. And they have a couple hundred subscribers. And I get YouTube's trying to push out new content creators, but they're showing me things I don't have interest in. Typically topics I don't want to watch. So you have a mixture of really large channels taking up the homepage followed by shorts, or you have a mixture of small upcoming channels that are getting pushed more than creators like myself. So since YouTube has been making changes, I feel it's time for me to make a change. Now, I'm the first to admit, I personally don't like change, but I have come to realize as growing as an adult and being a content creator that changes are necessary and sometimes inevitable. So the changes I'm gonna make may discourage some of you from watching. They actually may make you excited because there is a catch to it. This is not permanent. This is a experiment or trial run, if you want to say. I'm calling it March Madness because the month of March is going to be like madness for me because of what I'm going to be doing. So, in essence, I'm going to be putting out, firstly, more videos. I'm going to be putting out minimum 4 videos per week, maximum 5 videos per week between Monday and Friday. So, every week through March, guaranteed 4 videos, possibly 5 per week. Now, some things are going to stay the same. First off is that What Is It Wednesdays are still going to be What Is It Wednesdays, because those allow me to film, have always allowed me to film whatever I want that's under 20 minutes. Tuesdays are going to be e-bike or product reviews because I already have prior obligations with some companies to release videos for them. So those will come out on Tuesdays. But for the other days, they're going to be a mixed bag of videos. And when I say mixed bag, I mean random and variety. And that may sound good to some of you because, well, that's actually getting back to my roots. Those who've been with me for any length over 10 years probably remember that I had a lot of randomness on my channel. And that's actually one of the things that helped me grow to the number I got to in I say a relatively short amount of time, in my opinion. I used to film basically whatever I felt like filming. Now, I've always filmed things that I found interesting or that viewers could possibly find interesting. But it was a mixed bag of things. Everything from train watching, which people call it rail fanning, to knobles, to parades, to food reviews, to basically everything and anything to make a video on because I didn't know what path I wanted to go with my channel. I also started implementing abandoned stuff and mining stuff, both above and underground. So my channel was all over the place a number of years ago. And I decided at that time I needed to change and kind of close down my niche to mainly focus on exploring and adventures. because at the heart of it, that's where my passion is. I love exploring, I love adventures, I love seeing things that used to exist and to learn about them and to share them with you and to learn about things I had no idea used to exist. So that's where my channel changed right around COVID time, I think. So I closed down my variety, and at that time, that was the right decision. And that worked up until the summer of 2025. So for over 4 years, those changes helped me grow as a content creator, helped me grow subscriber count, and my views continue to grow until they didn't, which was summer of 2025. So what else am I changing? Well, there is a trade-off. With more videos, that means less time on each individual video. So the negative part, if you look at it this way, is that videos that require a lot of research, a lot of editing, a lot of work over multiple days won't be done during this period. It's just no way possible I'm going to be able to do a really in-depth background history video. And that's why I'm calling it March Madness. I have my work cut out for me. To put out 4 to 5 videos every week for 4 weeks straight is not an easy task. With that being said though, I'm not going to skimp out and produce lazy content. Yes, I'm not going to be going in depth on a lot of history and overlays and details, but if you remember, prior to COVID, I didn't used to do that. I used to just go out and explore. I used to just go out and film things and learn about them as we go. So this is getting back to my roots of my earlier days on the channel, where I filmed a big variety of things. I didn't know a lot at the time, but we made it work based on piecing clues together or getting feedback from the viewers. So what will I be filming? Well, the easier question to answer is what won't I be filming? What I won't be filming is things I have absolutely no interest in. Like, I'm not going to go to a quilting convention and make a video of it. But I'm going to be doing things or filming things that either you haven't ever seen on my channel or that you haven't seen for a long time. So there are going to be certain events coming up and certain activities and certain locations that are going to be highlighted during the month of March, and I'm going to be filming them. I'm still though going to do some exploring and adventures, but they're going to be topics or locations that don't require a ton of back history. Now, those of you who do enjoy the back history and details and layout on the videos of all the map images and overlays, well, it's just going to be a timeout just for the month of March. I have plenty of locations of those types to still do: railroad, mining, and other historical things. So they're not going away. They're just taking a break during the month of March. Once March is over, we will continue with those. One other change though is that I'm going to change how I'm doing my titles. Now, titles, I've had varied success with how I use them. Typically though, I've garnered the most views from having attention-getting titles. And you know what I mean by attention-getting. Something like dramatic or suspenseful, but I've never once done clickbait, meaning I've never portrayed something in my title or thumbnail that didn't happen in the video. I never want to subject you to that, and I'm not going to. But what I'm going to do though is make more main focus titles. And what I mean by main focus is that the title is going to be more specific to what the video is about. So for an example, if I go to a specific event, well, if I document that event, the event name is going to be in the title and possibly some details about it. But I'm not going to make it like, oh, you won't believe what happened here, or I couldn't believe this happened. I'm not going to do that. So again, this is all an experiment to see how YouTube is going to react to the changes I'm making as a content creator. This is not like a last-ditch effort, but it is maybe something that could reignite or kickstart my channel back into the views I was getting, back into the activity that my channel was getting my channel pushed out there again, because right now I feel my channel is hiding in the shadows and getting surpassed by both smaller and larger channels. And not to say that they don't deserve it, but for what I'm doing in my videos and based on the feedback from the viewers, I deserve it as well. And up until just a few months ago over the summer, that was happening. We were all getting a piece of the pie, so to speak. So as much as I don't want to change things, it's not going to be a permanent change. It's going to be temporary, just for 1 month. And I encourage you to at least give it a chance. I'm not saying you're going to like every video I'm going to put out, nor do I expect anyone to watch every video I put out. But you're going to see variety. You're going to see some randomness. You're going to see things that maybe you didn't know existed or weren't aware of, or see them in a whole new light based on how I present them to you. So whether I come to a cemetery or a unique one-of-a-kind event or somewhere on an adventure, I'm still going to do my best to make it fun and entertaining and, if possible, informative, just minus the deep dive of history and extra editing. They will be coming out starting in April. So with that being said, are these changes going to work? Well, time's going to tell. I have, like I said, a good list started that I'm going to be filming throughout the month, and things are going to be added on as the month goes. And like I said, my goal, bare minimum, is 4 videos per week. At maximum, 5 videos per week. So possibly 20 videos during the month of March, or as little as 16. Not a vast difference, but enough to give myself a little bit of downtime when needed. So weekends is time for me and my family and not focusing on videos. With that being said, lastly, if you do have input you want to share based on these changes, such as things I should consider filming or checking out, by all means, leave them down below. There's no guarantee I'm going to get to it or that I'm going to do it, but if it sounds interesting, intriguing, appealing, I could certainly consider adding it to my mixed bag of content I'll be filming throughout the month. I know this is probably lengthier than it should be, but I want to be transparent with you, share everything out there in the open in case you're watching this for the first time or maybe aren't aware of how things are rolling out for certain creators. And as of right now, I have no intentions on going anywhere or leaving my channel or anything like that. But I definitely don't want to keep doing what I'm doing to have hardly anyone watch. Like I said, I'm appreciative of all my views, but if I'm spending hours or days on a video that I'm super proud of, sharing the history, sharing all the overlays and map images and articles, and less than 5,000 people watch it, there's no incentive for me to keep doing it. Although I love what I do, I love making videos, I love being an entertaining / informative channel, you have to draw the line somewhere as to what's really worth it. Because in my early days, I didn't put much effort into my videos and I got a lot of views, grew a lot of subscribers. Ever since YouTube made that change on their homepage, it doesn't really matter how much or how little effort I put into my videos, I keep getting the same amount of views. Now, there are a couple exceptions since the summer of 2025 and now where I have got a few small spikes of views. There was the big boy movement of 4012 at Steamtown. That video got around 30,000 views. And the train derailment of Reading and Northern in Old Forge, that got about 20,000 views. Those were one-off videos that did considerably well to the rest of my videos, but those still fall flat to what I used to get. I used to get bare minimum 30,000 views. And I had so many videos that went viral of abandoned explorations, Google finds, rail trails, even exploring old abandoned rail lines. They performed better than my expectations were ever set. But now, if I'm not getting what I'm hoping for based on the effort I'm putting in, changes are definitely necessary, and this is the time to do it. The good thing is, though, is that if these changes don't work and this flops, well, I had nothing to lose. If my channel's not performing well right now, it can't perform much worse. And if it doesn't work, which is a good likelihood, it may not, well, I'm still going to be going back to my normal content come April. So if things drop, they're only dropping for 1 month. But on the flip side, if I start getting some higher views, getting new subscribers, getting more feedback, and getting my channel pushed out there, well, that's a win in my book, because that means when I go back to implementing my normal adventures, there's gonna be more people around to watch them. And maybe I'll start getting recommended on that homepage. So anyways, I know I rambled, but I want to get this out there, bring you up to speed, and let you know what was going on in case you notice some content that you may be scratching your head thinking like, what the hell is he doing? Why is he filming that? This is why. So it's gonna be a change for some, it's gonna be familiar for others, but in the end, this is to see how YouTube responds to changes I'm making instead of relying on them to change to fix it. Anyways, thanks for listening, and thanks for walking around with me here at the Forest Hill Cemetery. It all depends on how this experiment goes. Will YouTube like it? Will existing and new viewers like it? I'm gonna find out in just a few short weeks. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching, and like always, I'll see you in the next video.